Now, we are very excited to welcome our guest this week, and I'll just run through some of her achievements. 118 international caps for Australia, 12 of those as captain, 2,520 international goals, a two-time Commonwealth Games gold medalist, a two-time Netball World Championships gold medalist, 216 domestic caps for the Phoenix and the Vixens, and a Sport Australia Hall of Fame member. We're very excited to welcome Sharelle McMahon to the Centre Pass podcast. Sharelle, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for that intro.
That's all right. Did my research. We're very excited to have you on. It's been a great season of Super Netball, and I guess the first question, we're probably going to go to the season a little bit later, but just want to know on yourself, how do you think, I guess, the Super Netball competition or the domestic competition has changed since you have retired?
Oh, well, to me, just watching it from very close on the sideline, which I'm lucky enough to do, it's very fast and physical, which netball certainly always has been. But for me, the physical side of it is what has really stepped up. The contest on the ball is absolutely incredible. And I think what you can see now more than we ever have before is the result of these athletes being professional, or mostly professional athletes, in that they prepare their bodies differently than what we did probably throughout most of my career. And so they are stronger, they're faster, they're more able to cope with those collisions and contests on the ball, and I love that. I absolutely love those contests, and it's brilliant to see such amazing female athletes out there doing their thing.
Yeah, awesome. Are there any particular moments that really stand out from your own netball career?
Yes, a lot. I was so lucky in my netball career. I started in country Victoria, playing in a little place called Bemorm, which is where I grew up, and I've got some beautiful memories even from playing there with my club there and my school team. And for me, the reasons why I loved playing there were kind of the same as when I was playing in a World Cup or at the Commonwealth Games for Australia, in that, you know, you had a group of people that you loved spending time with and you had a common goal. And when you achieve that goal with those people who you spend so much time with, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing thing to share something with a group of people that you've worked so hard towards. For me, probably, if you're asking me what my favourite moments are, I would have to say the World Cup in '99, where we won by one goal right on the buzzer, and the double extra time win for the Diamonds at the Manchester Commonwealth Games. Those are the two that really, really stand out in my head from an international perspective, and from a domestic perspective. Our second year with the Vixens, after we had a really tough year, after we merged the Phoenix and the Kestrels teams together, and being able to kind of bounce back from a really tough year in that first year of the Vixens to win the Premiership the following year was pretty amazing.
Looking at like the domestic league now, which teams have surprised you this season so far?
Well, I think, just checking over things as you do, I'm surprised to see the Firebirds sitting in second place, to be honest. I think the Fever team have promised a lot for a long time, and with the introduction of Janelle Fowler, we kind of all expected them to really jump up the ladder, which they've done. But the Firebirds, for me, have kind of, been a bit of a surprise. And I love the way they are going about their business at the moment. Kind of a bit understated, but they've got players within that group who have taken massive steps up this year, and they've really impressed me.
Are there any players that are standing out in different positions in particular?
For them?
For them and just across the competition in general?
Oh, yeah, well, for the Firebirds, I think that Gretel Tippett has taken massive steps forward this year. I've always liked the way she's played because she's a little bit unorthodox. And very, very exciting to watch. But I think that she has added a bit more, not steady play is not the right thing, but her basics seems to have lifted as well, because she was always able to take her game to that amazing end with her athleticism in defence and layups in the goal circle and all those spectacular things. But I think that she's kind of lessened the gap between her general play and that spectacular play, and I think that that's really helped her this year. Who else? I think the other person who has really impressed me this year has been from the Giants, and I guess that is, I mean, it's obvious because the Giants have done so well over the last couple of years, but the mid-court combination between Serena Guthrie and Kim Green is, when they're on fire, I sit there watching with my mouth open because it's so shocking what they are able to do. So they are the ones that, for me, have just been setting the world alight.
Yep, and obviously yourself, you played goal attack and a bit of goal shooter. Just on the way the goal attack position has evolved, especially this season, we see a lot of different roles for the goal attacks. Obviously, Gretel Tipper plays a very unorthodox kind of style of netball, but then a player like Nat Medhurst, who we say here is almost playing as a second wing attack. How have you seen the evolution of that goal attack position, and what do you think about teams using those players in different roles?
Oh, well, I like it. I think that is one of the things that has really changed, is that perhaps what we're seeing now from a goal attack is that their role is not so defined as it possibly has been in the past. And I'm just really interested to see how all that continues to play out. I don't know the answer. I've always believed that the teams that have more success, or who are more likely to be successful, are the ones that have a goal in circle who can split the load. And I think we often see that, that you have a goal attack in the mix that can really step up if it's needed. We even saw that last year with Steph Wood kind of, really taking that strong role. Now the Fever, they're right out on top, aren't they? That Medhurst is not shooting many goals. She's having a massive influence on the game in other ways, that's for sure. So that's, my theory might be tested this year because of the way Nat Medhurst is approaching it. But I still do think that, on the whole, you need two goals kind of operating smoothly. And I think what we saw both when the Firebirds and the Vixens beat the Fever is that the avenue to goal to Janelle Fowler was shut down a little bit. It was more difficult to get that high ball into her. And there was a bit of a gap to what their B game is. Now, when their A game's on, it doesn't matter because it's almost impossible to defend. But once that goes off, the question is what comes next. So I guess, the thing for them will be is how strong their A game is and whether they need a B game.
Yeah, well, so looking at the ladder now, the Swifts have 2 more wins than the Lightning, but are below them on the ladder because of the point system. What are your kind of thoughts on the bonus points?
Well, I love the bonus points during the games. I think that there is no doubt that it has changed the behaviours of the teams in the way they fight for each quarter. The stats show us that in terms of the amount of drawn quarters we've got, much lower than what we've had in previous years. When we've looked back a little bit, we haven't gone way back, but when we compare it to the first year of Suncorp Super Netball, there's arguments to say that it is influencing things, to say they're fighting more. From a commentary perspective, it allows us another storyline, and it's exciting to kind of talk about that for us. Hopefully that's coming across in the commentary when people are listening. When we were over in Perth on the weekend just gone, the Fever team had well and truly wrapped that game up by 3/4 time, but there was another storyline in the last quarter with the Thunderbirds continuing to fight for that one bonus point, and what a huge story it would have been if they did get a point off the ladder leaders. So I like it from that perspective. It doesn't sit really well with me at the moment that there's a team above another team with 2 less wins. That doesn't sit very well with me. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out, and see kind of what the end point on that is.
And we're all a bit excited. We've seen that the Centurions show is happening in Perth. And if you had to sum up what fans could expect from the show, how would you describe it?
How would I describe it? Fun, silly, and emotional. That's probably
it's an interesting mix.
Describe it, because I think the basis of it for us is to have fun, and I think from the feedback we've been given, that is how it comes across, that's for sure. But there are certainly some times where we talk about some serious stuff and some things that have affected us in different ways. So it's a bit deeper than just us kind of being clowns out on the stage. But that is a big part of it.
That sounds really interesting. What advice would you give to young netballers who are hoping to try and make a career out of the sport?
Oh, good question. I think for me it's always about, you're surrounded by different people at different times, and I think that taking advice from people is really important, and that's something that I always tried to do. And upon reflection, I think I probably could have done even better. You've got players around you often, particularly when you're coming through, playing in rep teams or, even just your club teams, that some players will have more experience than you. Your coach obviously has a huge influence. And now not everything they say is going to work exactly for you, but my advice would be just to take the advice on and give it a go, and work hard, because any player who is playing at this level now has a work ethic that is well and truly above the others. So they would be the two things. But also, I would, if I was giving advice to myself, I would say to write stories down, because my memory is really bad. And I would love to have a diary or a journal of when we were away on tour, because I'm sure a lot of things happened that I can't remember now. Take notes.
And just one final one. We asked Sue Gordy in this when we had her on a couple of weeks ago, and she was very hesitant to give us an answer. Based on the season so far, who is your tip to win the Premiership this season?
Oh, she was probably hesitant because she's coaching with a fever, and she doesn't want to put that out there. I mean, I still think that, as I said before, their A game can beat anyone. I do think that is true. But I don't know. Yeah, I would say probably them on form and where they can be when they're at their absolute best. But there's a lot of challenges. A lot.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much, Sharelle, for coming on the podcast this week. It's been an absolute pleasure for all of us.
No worries. Appreciate it. Cheers.